Alright, today we're going to be replacing the light bulb underneath the gear shift indicator in a Lexus LS430, and it's a little bit of a process, but I'm going to show you how to do it. First and foremost, put the car in neutral and then turn the key off. Make sure your parking brake's on. Mine's a bit loose. Maybe someone can suggest how to fix that. Gear shifter comes off. Twist, twist, twist. How's my footage? Footage is good. I can sit up there. Now, the tools that you'll need for this job are a pick tool. I've got the needle nose pliers just in case, but also some pry tools. The one we need for this is this one, and you'll see we're going to use this one extensively today. First task is obviously shift the knob off first, but we have to take out this piece. I know it's a bit intimidating the first time you do it, but it's actually not that hard because it just sort of pops out. You can't really damage the plastic bits. They just flex. I should hope I don't start breaking things now that I'm recording this for the first time. That's more difficult than it was before. Alright, and that bit comes, this bit pops out. And then there's a little connector here. Push that in with your thumb, give it a bit of a wiggle, and that should come out pretty easily. Come on. Here we go. There we go, that's out. You can see my Grom BT3 in there. That thing works brilliantly. And not easy to put it in there. You have to take all this out, connect it to the back of the CD player, feed the cables up. I've got a charging cable and a microphone cable here that I fed through under the dash, down the lining under the dash, and then back in through here. That was quite a process as well. Anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. Next part is to remove this trim using the trim tools. You just sort of feed it around and it sort of just comes up pretty easily. Just feed it around like that. You'll see it start to lift up. Give it a bit of a twist here and there. Be patient. Everything sort of comes up with a little bit of pushing, a little bit of effort. There you go. I always try and put that one facing the direction it's going to go. Next part is to get rid of this guy. The way you do that is you put both hands in here under the wood trim and you just lift up. And then at the back here you can use your trim tool, and that pops out really easily, as you can see. They're very clever about the way they built these things. Everything's really easy to remove. So we're getting very close now to the hard part. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Under here you can see there's a clip. Hopefully you can see all this stuff. I keep checking my phone to see what you can see, but anyway, let's just hope. There's a clip under here. You've got to push down with your thumb and release it forward. None of these things come out super straight away, but you've just got to be patient. It's actually easier to do this from the other side. I might swap sides. Okay. Alright, I got that part off. It was a bit more difficult than I was expecting, but anyway. We can all sit happily over there. Now, if you haven't done this before, there's this sheet of sticky plastic that sits right here. And the first time, it was really hard for me to figure out how to get this part off. On this side, it's pretty obvious. You've got these clips here. Looks like the whole mechanism comes off, but it's really hard to see on this side. So anyway, what I did was just tried to take the top part off, which you can do. You need one of these guys. And I'll show you the way I did it, the way I do it. Like I'm some expert, but anyway, I'm just learning. So you can sort of, you got to get in under there, under this plastic part. And you can sort of this side, it's much easier to see. You can see that it just pops up here on this side, and the same here. It's really easy to spot. So these two sides just sort of work themselves out really easily. This side, on the other hand, is a much bigger pain in the ass, but that's where the pry tool comes in, because you just got to get underneath it and sort of hook in there. It sort of, I'm not sure what you can see, unfortunately, because that one's off. Now it's just this one. There we go, good, okay. This plastic's actually pretty strong, so you don't want to force it, but you don't have to be too gentle. Now, I've already actually taken the cable out of here to put the light bulb in, because I was trying before and I just couldn't get it to work. So when you take yours off, your light bulb will be in there, and it'll all be inside this assembly in here. Now, getting this bit back in is an absolute pain in the bum, but we're not going to do that until we put our new light bulb in. Now, the $50,000 question for me is whether or not the new light bulb is actually going to work. So anyway, I'm going to put it in there. I'll see if I can get it working. It has a little rubbery bit on the top, which I kept. Yeah, it's in there. Which I kept from the one I took out. In Australia, we call this a T5. There is a T5 LED. That doesn't fit. This is an incandescent T5, and it's basically the same size as the one I took out. I went down to Super Cheap, and what I'm really hoping is that if I put this on, there's no chance of damaging the bulb. I'll pull this out, I'll stick it into its socket, and everything's going to work. But it didn't last time, and it might not again. We'll try. Alright, so there's one way to test this. Turn the car on, turn the lights on, and look at that. Okay, so that's a good sign. I'm happy with that. Last time I did this, I didn't pay attention to this part, and it was misaligned. This little plastic under here had slipped off, and so I had to pull this up, put it back in place, and go through the whole process again. It was a bit of a pain, but anyway, it is what it is. So now there's not much slack here, And you have to twist this in such a way, there's a couple of sort of teeth that have to line up, you can see inside there. So that's why I've got these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these guys, because my fingers are too fat, and hopefully what I can do is I can position this in such a way that it fits in here the way it's supposed to. See how it keeps twisting? That's a pain. I would not be a good surgeon. Anyway, I'm just going to keep working on this until I can get it in there. But we basically have to maneuver this part so that the bits line up. It just wants to twist. I was successful last time, eventually. But every time I did it before, there we go. Oh, perfect. Okay, so that's mostly in now. Where's my pry tool? What have I done with it? You're all yelling at me. There it is. Now the up how it goes. If it's in right, that should twist. I don't think it is yet. Maybe it is. Come on, you bugger. I should be able to twist the housing inside there. Maybe I just use this to rotate like that. There we go. Okay, that's pretty much locked into place now. God, this might actually work. Let's try the lights again. Oh my God, that's working. It wasn't working before. That's why I've replaced the bulb. Now it's working. That is happy days. Alright, so now the key is just to reverse the procedure without messing anything up. So that's got to go in there. This was in neutral, so that can slide there. Those things are all look like they're in line. Are they? Just check. Check to make sure that thing's lined up. Because it has to slide in it. No, see there, it moved. You stay there. Stay. 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 Alright, you can test it. You can... That moves smoothly. That's... Keep it in neutral. You can turn the engine off. Oh, amazing. Okay. So now you just go backwards. I can't tell if it's lit because it's too light, but I'm just going to assume that it is, because it did when we went in. Okay, this is good. So I don't think I have to swap sides to go back and do this part. I'm just going to reach that down like that. That clicks in like that. This housing sort of sits in like that. Click, click. Oh, amazing. This is good. I need to clean that. This goes on like this. Did I put it on the right way? Yes. That goes in like that. This goes in like this. Okay, that's back in. And it's always a good idea just to make sure these guys are plugged in and powered on. Yes. Tick, tick. Now, because I've got my grom in there, there's not as much room as there used to be, but it doesn't seem to mind too much. I can just pop it in there. Powers, heat, still heat. That's all there. Gear shift knob. Car into park, engine off. We're done. That's how you do it.